So you might be thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, and perhaps you're wondering, how do you interview someone remotely, and how do you ensure that you're going to pick someone who suits you and your business? Let me give you a couple of tips coming right up. Okay, if you're wondering where I am today, this is actually the Melbourne skyline. Well, not quite, because the central business district is this way, but we're looking out over the Yarra River, which is a lovely view. So some people struggle with the idea of hiring somebody remotely, particularly someone you've never met before. They're going to be working remotely, and what are some of the criteria that you should actually consider when you're hiring someone? Okay, so look, it is a little bit different perhaps, because they're not going to be working in the office with you. If you're hiring a virtual assistant, they're going to be in another country probably. So let me just share some of the criteria that I've used over the years that have really paid off well for me. So first of all, what I do is I get obviously a short list of candidates, typically 3. You might be advertising, or you might be going through a BPO, a business process outsourcing center, some sort of outsourcing facility. And I would always try and get a short list of 3 of people who actually look like they're able to do the role on paper. So I'm obviously looking for some relevant experience. I might be looking for some core skills, whether it's a web developer or a social media manager or maybe a PA. I'm looking for something that's going to make them stand out and show that they're capable for that role. And then what I tend to do is I'll do something like a 10 or 15 minute Skype video interview. And I'll be probing there to get them to talk as much as possible about their experience and why they're interested in this role for me. I want to hear what their language skills are like and what their communication skills are like. But also I want to get a sense of what sort of person they're going to be like to work with. So I'm trying to not do too much talking. I'm trying to get them to talk as much as possible. And I also want to see if they're taking this role seriously, or if this is just a filler for them, maybe between jobs, and what kind of things that they want to be doing in the future. Because like hiring any staff, what I'm always trying to do is hire for the long term. I want people who are going to really fit well into our team and who are going to stay with us for the long haul. Rotation of staff is never good. So that's, if you like, the formal part of the process. So I'm checking skills, experience, qualifications, but what really is the trigger, and this is probably not just for remote staff, the real thing that's going to get me to select one person over another is attitude. Do they feel like someone who's going to step up and take on a challenge, that they're going to be really good to work with, good positive attitude, they're willing to learn new things? That's probably the number one criteria for me. And I've talked to a lot of people over the years who have hired virtual assistants, and they all say the same thing, that okay, you're looking for certain qualifications and experience, but to a degree, skills can be trained. You can provide training for the skills. What they're really looking for is the right attitude. So let me just share an experience with you. I formed Virtual Done Well about 6 years ago. My very first experience in working with a virtual assistant was hiring a VA from one of the large outsourcing centers in the Philippines. And the interview kind of went along the grounds that I've just explained. And the person that I hired was 19 years old, never had experience of being a personal assistant before, had obviously some good skills and education on paper, but absolutely number one, they stood head and shoulders above everybody else, was on attitude and enthusiasm. And I never regretted hiring that person. They worked out fantastically. And certainly when I'm hiring my own virtual staff now in my own business, attitude counts for so much. So I guess the message I'm saying to you is, certainly, a web developer, you want them to be able to build websites, or a social media manager, you want them to have some experience in managing social media. But the number one criteria I find, particularly for a remote working relationship, is that attitude. Are you going to really find working with that person easy, enjoyable? Are they someone that you're really going to connect with? That is the number one thing. So you know the deal on this channel. If you have any questions, do type in the comments below. If you enjoy this channel, do subscribe. We have new videos coming out every week, generally on a Wednesday, and I look forward to sharing more tips on hiring virtual assistants, utilizing virtual assistants, and I hope to talk to you soon.